want to, excuse me, can we respect our time and skip to our commission candidates? We want to thank we want to thank David Esrati, Nan Whaley, and Joy Wheat for being here as commission candidates. And we would like to start by asking them, who are you? Why are you running for this office? And what unique contribution will you bring to the office? And we would like to go start in alphabetical order with David Esrati. And then we'll be followed by Nan Whaley and Joy Wheat.
Thank you, Reverend Walker. I am David Esrati, and I am your voice. You, like me, are a member of the Dayton community who live in a neighborhood. Our neighborhoods are our building blocks in this community. There is no arguing there. It is the neighborhoods that make our city. And for 25 years plus, we've counted on priority boards, just like the one here, to take our issues up to City Hall. We haven't made any changes. In all those years, a lot has changed in Dayton, but we still do things the same way by voting precinct. I don't want Columbus drawing the boundaries anymore for our neighborhoods, for our way of representing our needs to our city. I believe we need to redraw those boundaries on our neighborhoods. Now, the team that's been here hasn't made a change in the past. It's been the same thing. And if you re-elect them, you will get the same thing. Change is inevitable that things have to happen because we're 17 million in the hole. And for all that you're going to hear from them about their monthly meetings to oversee our finances, you can't find minutes of those monthly meetings online. They have been meeting in secret for as long as they've been in office, going back to the Turner administration and possibly before that. It's time to stop the secret meetings. They're illegal. They are not allowed by the charter, and they have been happening month in, month out, week in, week out. I bring new ideas to the commission. I bring your voice. I have a website where you can find a plan and where you can talk back. You can have a conversation, and I've been doing it for 4 years. Compare. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Nan Whaley, Dayton City Commissioner. It says to say a little bit about myself. I am a resident of the Five Oaks neighborhood, graduate of the University of Dayton, and recently received my master's at Wright State University. I am newly married for 2 years to my husband Sam, and we just bought our first house over in Five Oaks, which I've lived in Five Oaks for about a decade and love the neighborhood. I want to talk really quickly just about some of the things that I focused on as Dayton City Commissioner. It's been a tough 4 years. Little did I know getting elected in 2006 that the Great Recession would hit in 2008 and has had really drastic effects not only for Dayton, but the state of Ohio and the Great Lakes region especially, and as well as across the nation. I've been working really hard on land reuse initiatives, ideas like land banking, getting back control of some of the vacant and blighted property in our neighborhoods, and being able to reuse them. The mayor's put forth a project like lot links, letting other neighbors take over those properties, and then also the idea of urban gardening. I'm really excited to work with the county. We have a House and Senate bill that's before the legislature, and we're hopeful that we will be able to get a countywide land bank. I've also worked hard on making Dayton and talking about Dayton being more bike-friendly and more walking-friendly. I think it's really key for our neighborhoods to be connected to the great bike trails we have along the river. And so really talking about how that works and how it's important for our streets to be more friendly to the walker, and the biker. And then finally, I've been your voice on the human services with the county. You know, as you know, we have regionalized the social service area. So the county does the human service levy. I serve on Family Insurance First Council for the city, and also on the levy council. So I've been working hard on those issues and trying to be the voice to make sure that Dayton gets its fair share of assets in the city. I'd appreciate your vote on November 3rd, and thank you so much for being here today. Thanks, Northwest Fairway Board.
Good evening. My name is Joey Williams. I'm running for re-election for the Dayton City Commission, and I want to thank the Northwest Priority Board for hosting this forum tonight. I will answer the questions here. Who are you? I look around the room. I think I know many of you, but I am a native Daytonian. I'm a proud graduate of Dunbar High School, of Central State University, and Ohio State University. All I do wish you would have won the football games. I'm also a person who's been serving in the community, very happy to do so, very grateful to do so, very honored to do so for a number of years. I was a member of the Dayton School Board, and for the past 8 years I've been a member of the Dayton City Commission. Says here, why are you running for office? I'm really running for office because while we've been really experiencing some of the toughest times you can imagine, we call this time right now the Great Recession. And so it's really tough times, and one of the reasons why I'm running is that while I'm proud of the way we worked through this Great Recession, at the end of the day, I believe there's still more work to be done. So with that, I saw 1 minute left. I just want to say what is my unique qualification to run for re-election. It really is my financial background I bring to the table. I'm actually very proud of the meetings that we have once a month, called our financial meetings. These are open meetings. Anyone can come. We're welcome you to come. But when we recently received an upgrade from Standard & Poor's, one of only 2 cities in the state received that upgrade. One of the reasons cited was our meeting and our openness and our understanding of our financial situation and our ability to change quickly when we saw there were issues. That's why we received an upgrade. That's why we're saving the city about $200,000 a year on our most recent bond rating. The last thing before I sit down, I'll say that I think is from a unique perspective is that as a member of the business community, I do feel that it's important that we have someone who's regularly at the table when people are talking about issues within the city of Dayton. And as a person who is at the table when folks in the business community talk about the city of Dayton and who can give a perspective on what really goes on, I think that's a valuable commodity. So thank you, Joey Williams. Please remember me November the 3rd.
Mr. Williams, since you were wound up, we're going to put a question.
Sure.
And the question is, there is a perception that politicians in general have taken their constituency for granted, especially those at the margin. Tell us, what do you see as the primary needs of the marginalized community, and how will you address these issues?
Thank you. Is this another 2-minute answer?
That is a 2-minute.
It really requires longer, so I'm going to concentrate on one aspect. I think if you go to my website, joeywilliams.com, and you'll hear me talk more about things that I do in terms of our financials and other things that I do that are very important. But one thing I really want to talk about, you talk about marginalized group in our community, is our young people. Our young people need attention. And when we had the issues back in 2005, when Derek Ali was shot, one of the responses to that is I teamed up with Commissioner Dean Lovelace, and we threw a summit to talk about issues around youth violence and the needs of our youth. Out of that summit, a number of things happened. We came up with a youth commission. We came up with a youth clearinghouse, which we have in place, but I would admit that we need that to grow. And we also made a commitment that we're going to do more to try to help around youth activities and our youth centers. As you can see, when you see the development going on in Northwest and Lowride, and the new Rexplex is being built. So if you want to talk about some of the young people in our community that I think really need us to put our arms around them, I really think that's our young people and some of the parents who are really working hard to support these young people. As a father, my wife and I, we about pull our hair out just keeping up with our kids' activities. I have so much sensitivity to young, particularly single mothers who are trying to do the same thing, and that's why I think it's so important that we spend time, and we spend energy, and we don't forget about our young people, and particularly those parents trying to support those young people. So that's what I think that I bring to the table in terms of trying to reach out to some of the most marginalized folks in our community.
future of our community and neighborhood growth, and that's really what I've been working heavily on.
Marginalized are all of us. We're marginalized. You want to know how I know? Because when I went to the city commission 22 years ago after buying my $14,000 house and was taken to court for putting up the wrong kind of garage doors, I never got an answer from the commission. In fact, most people who go to the commission don't get an answer. They don't get a response. You get a stonewall face, and you get your time is up. 3 minutes. Used to be 5. They cut it. Now, in the last 8 years, and before that even, we've seen a great focus on, quote, economic development. Economic development is a buzzword for corporate welfare. I'll give you an example. The City Commission went off on a goose chase in my neighborhood to bring a Kroger to the corner of Wayne and Wyoming. They spent over 2 years first blighting, declaring a neighborhood blighted, then going and doing appraisals, 2 appraisals on every house, then putting out options on every house, and then coming up to Kroger and saying, well, we got this parcel assembled, and Kroger says, sorry. They spent several $1 million chasing that. They had no contract. They had no business sense. In fact, their job is not to bring businesses to this community. Their job is to make this community great so that businesses will come here. And that's where you've been marginalized. We're pursuing something that we have no business pursuing. We should be focused on basic services, delivery of high-quality schools, getting our neighborhoods back in shape, and the businesses will come. But no, they're busy accepting $5,500 donations and $10,000 donations from a landfill demolition contractor in Westerville. That's big money. Special interest, corporate money has been buying our politicians. It's not the taxpayers in Dayton that are buying the representation. Trust me. Thank you.
We have a question for each of the commissioner candidates. If elected, how would you make yourself more accessible to citizens? And how would you do a better job monitoring agencies such as the police and courts? Let me read that again. If elected, how would you make yourself more accessible to citizens? And how will you do a better job monitoring agencies such as the police and the courts? We would like you to take 1 minute each and respond. Courts. 1 minute.
And we'll start.
Why don't you start?
1 minute. Don't say anything in 1 minute unless we talk really fast. But in terms of accessibility, I am the most accessible candidate. Okay? I can tell you that right now because if you go to my website, Esrati.com, and you go and look at anything I posted over the last 4 years, you will find at the bottom a comment box. You can make a comment, you will get a response. Now, the big problem is that everybody's not online. And I understand that. And I understand that our community needs a more responsive system. And that responsive system I want to implement is the 311 system, which is a one number for all problems. It goes to a clearinghouse online. You call in 311, you put in your complaint, and then we can track whether the city actually responds and closes those cases. It's something I've been pushing for a long time. This isn't the first time I've run. It's not that hard to do. I think San Antonio did it for a couple $100,000. We haven't even tried. You call this department, you call that department, you call the priority board. It's time to have one number, one place. Thank you.
The question was accessibility and monitoring courts and police.
Right.
Okay. And so accessibility, I really think that we are all pretty accessible in different ways. But I will say, though, that I try to make myself accessible. If anybody calls me, I try to find a way to get to them either in person really accessible to other parents who have kids who are involved in sports and school activities and science fairs. But I also like to make myself accessible to priority boards and associations also. And I'm accessible to folks who are part of our community and business community. So try to make myself accessible in different ways, and you can always catch me. The other thing, though, in terms of the courts and the police department, I think one of the things we need to work more on, and we started this process, is looking at, what are the best practices throughout the country. And one of the things we've been trying to do is try to use, metrics and data to say, where do we stack up on these different measurements? And that's one of the things that we're working on now. And I think as you see us go forward, you will see us be able to monitor these areas and other areas a lot better. Thank you.
As far as accessibility goes, I've tried to be as accessible as possible, walking many of your neighborhoods. My number's in the phone book, my home number, so I receive calls there as well as the city hall. Through email, I get a lot of emails that I try to respond to as quickly as possible. So I've tried to be as accessible as I possibly can be to people that want to see me, recognizing that a lot of times people prefer honestly to talk to the mayor of Dayton rather than a commissioner. I don't know if Commissioner Williams feels that sometimes people really like to talk to the mayor, and that's great too. The one thing I'm proud of that we've done, that we started on, is the Citizen Initiative to Reduce Gun Violence. And what that has done is, first of all, Chief Beal and City Manager Young raised private dollars for this initiative for the city, which said a lot about our community, that people dole out money privately to do this. And it's the whole idea that we need our citizens to work with the police department to work together. So I think that that's one big issue to working together. Thank you.
There's only one movie theater and limited retail. What will you do if elected to establish a suburban-like amenities to the city?
How much time?
Let's stay with the minute. I'm aware of time overall.
I'll start this one. In terms of, first of all, I actually embrace the differences that you find in an urban environment. But with that said, I too would like to have a movie theater and more restaurants and some nice things for us to go and spend money within our community. But I think we have to deal with the reality, and I talked about it before, this great recession, and the fact of the matter is there's not a whole lot of development going on anywhere right now. But one of the best things that we can do as a city is that while we are waiting for the economy to continue to improve, is for us to improve our infrastructure. And so if you go around the city, you will see streets being repaved, you'll see bridges being redone, you'll see beautifications into the neighborhoods. Those are the things that we have control over right now that we are doing, that I'm very proud of, that I think is going to really set the stage for when development comes back, we will be able to attract some of these movie theaters and restaurants and other things that we all want to see in our neighborhood. Thank you.
This is a very difficult issue. Living in Five Oaks, I go to Harrison Township to get my groceries, and so I understand the problem of having lack of retail. I think the other key thing is we have to recognize that we are an urban area and look at other cities and what they have done to attract some smaller retail. I think that that's going to be key. Again, like Commissioner Williams, I don't want us to become just a suburban-looking community. I really like Dayton and how it looks with its urban feel, but I think that we have to be more creative in how we get that retail. I think that we'll be looking at different ways, produce stands and other things that I think that can be helpful, but we have to go at it a different way than just a green field and cheap and easy and packed retail. So.
I'm going to give you the honest answer, and Commissioner Williams said a little bit of it, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until we get our act together. Because corporations that site locate things like theaters, restaurants, all those things, you know what they look at? They look at rooftops. They look at numbers of rooftops within a radius, what the value is, what the income is, how solid the neighborhood is. They don't invest until they feel that they have a confidence level in that community. And we're not going to get a confidence level until we stop talking about tearing down houses and we start talking about filling up houses. That's what it's going to take. Commissioner Whaley's on tape saying, nobody, we need to tear down all these 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom houses that nobody wants. Well, that was the house that I bought. And I believe that someone else would want that house today. And until we get away from this attitude that we're going to tear things down and we're going to start building things up, no one's going to come here and build things. I think we need to change an attitude and change and focus back on what's important. Businesses need people. We're going to get those people back to our neighborhoods. Thank you.
We'd like to bring to closure the commission of candidates by asking you to spend up to 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, tell us why you want to, tell us why it's essential that we vote for you to care for a seat on the city commission. Let's start with Joy Williams, and we will go and Nan Whaley and David Esrati.
Again, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you for your past support. I think a lot of what I've done is on this little piece of paper, but it doesn't really fit everything. I think I know a lot of you personally. Go to my website, you'll see a lot more. If I'm elected again, I'm going to work very hard for our community, just as I always have done. I'm going to try to bring to bear some of the experience I have in the financial world and the business world, and really try to do what we can to make Dayton as great as we can be. Again, I thank you for your past support. I implore you to remember me, Joey Williams, November the 3rd, Dayton City Commissioner. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for your time today and coming out this evening to see us. Again, my name is Nan Whaley. I appreciate the honor of serving you these past 4 years as your Dayton City Commissioner. I ask for your vote again. I think that the key things this commission has tried to do and has done pretty well considering the fact that we have had such a enormous recession is focus on our infrastructure, focus in on neighborhood and economic development, and protect our services. And we are the only city in the state that have done those things without cutting, laying off police officers or raising taxes. And I think that's a pretty big deal considering the situations that are going on in our mid and large-sized cities in the Midwest. As for your vote again on November 3rd or any day until November 3rd, you can go downtown to the Board of Elections and vote early. I know Commissioner Williams and Mayor McLin and I already have. I recommend you do that from 8 to 4. It's very easy and you don't have to show your ID card. I don't like that ID card rule, so it's a way to get around that unfair state law, if you ask me. So I encourage you to vote, and I appreciate your time here and appreciate the work you all do for your neighborhood and for the city of Dayton. Thank you.
If you have a piece of my literature, you know I have the smallest piece of paper out there. And that's probably because I have the most to say. And if you go to Esrati.com, you can search back over 4 years worth of things that I've been saying. And there's a lot there. Pretty well. We've been doing pretty well. Pretty well is not good enough. In fact, good enough is not good enough. We need to be batting home runs. We need to be batting it out of the park. We need to have a set of standards that we hold our city manager accountable to. We need to have goals and objectives and measurable ways of figuring out, are we moving forward or are we moving backward? And what I see in the last 8 years through the Dayton Daily News the other day was the price of homes for the last 8 years has been dropping. The population has been dropping. And there's no reason. Dayton is a great place to live. My neighborhood is a great place to live. We work hard in my neighborhood to do things that make it a great neighborhood. It was recognized as the National Neighborhood of the Year. I want every neighborhood in the city of Dayton to be a National Neighborhood of the Year. I want this city to feel good about itself, and it's not going to happen until we start changing the way we do things. Because the way we do things hasn't been working. When you're losing, you usually either change the team or you change the coach. You don't keep going with the same old, same old. So, When you look at the campaign finance reports that come in tomorrow, you see how much money is coming in, you see where it's coming in from the CEOs of hospitals and the CEOs of this and the CEOs of that, to candidates like this, wonder whose interest they have in mind. Because it's not your interest. It hasn't been your interest. I hope to change that. Go look at their websites, go look at mine. You know, it can be a great city. It can be different. You just have to vote.
Would you join me in acknowledging and showing our appreciation to the commissioner candidates for taking their time and being here and sharing their At this point, we'd like to shift to the mayoral candidate. We have our mayor, Mr. Rhine McLin, and candidate Mr. Leitzell. We will ask you to begin the same way we asked the other candidate, taking the time to share who you are and what gifts do you bring to the office. We would like for you to share 2 minutes, and there's a second question that we will share with the audience. And from that point, if there are persons in the audience who has a question for the mayoral candidates, I would invite you to write them down, and we will receive them after we have the second question. So let us continue in alphabetical order, and start with Mr. Leitzell.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? How many people are here from the Priority Board, Northwest Priority Board? That's great. That's great. We had one of these in Southeast last week. My name is Gary Leitzell.
We know that.
I'm running for mayor, city of Dayton, and it says here, who am I? Well, I grew up in England. I was born in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. My dad, after he got out of the Air Force, worked in the steel mills around Pittsburgh, and he married a British woman in the Air Force. And at the age of 9, they split up, and I ended up in England for 12 and a half years. My brother and mother are still over there. I came back to America in 1982 at the age of 21 with a geology degree from the University of London. With a suitcase, a backpack, and $600 and the American dream. Because I was going to make a go of it here. And I did. I spent several years in the Pittsburgh area doing many sales and marketing jobs. I have extensive sales and marketing experience, retail and insurance sales. I also worked for an auction company. In 1994, I moved to Dayton, and I rented a house in Walnut Hills and I ended up buying it. And that's what brought me here. I've been here ever since. I'm the chair of the Southeast Priority Board. I've been on the Priority Board for 10 years. I'm the president of my neighborhood association. I've been the president of that for 6 years. I stand for safer, thriving communities. I believe we need to have a customer-centric city hall, one that works with you. And I believe we need to make Dayton a place where business booms by attracting thousands of entrepreneurs, opportunists, and visionaries here to create employment so we can create jobs in this city so people can afford to buy some of these houses that our mayor and commissioners want to knock down. And they can fix them up. And so I stand for vision and business-minded acumen at City Hall.
Good evening, I'm Rhine McLin, and I'd like to thank the Northwest Priority Board for having this forum. It's always a wonderful opportunity to come out and be able to discuss issues. I am a native Daytonian. I was born and reared here in Dayton, and I'm a graduate of Dunbar High School. My family has had a business in Dayton since 1932, and we continue to still have that business. I bring to the office that I've been in office for 20 years. I've been a state rep, a state senator, and by being a mayor for the past 8 years, all of those past relationships from the state and the federal level have had a result for the city of Dayton. Such as when we were able to get the neighborhood stabilization program money, the city got money directly, but because of our relationship with the Lieutenant Governor, Lee Fisher, we were one of 4 cities in the state of Ohio that got additional money, which made a difference. Those houses that are being spoken about, Dayton has housing stock in level out the housing so that we have a three-pronged program. One, we're tearing down the houses that are a nuisance, and many of you would want that in your neighborhood, want to get rid of those blighted areas. Number two, we're rehabbing those homes that need to be and can be rehabbed. And number three, we're building new homes. You see that going on. So I want to say to you that the reason why I want to continue as your mayor, I've laid the seeds. I need a little more time to make sure those seeds take root because Dayton is on the move. And I tell you that we're laying the groundwork with infrastructure, making this city poised for the future. Thank you.
The second question is, John Gower, Director of Planning and Community Development in the city of Dayton, wrote in a document to the Inner-West Dayton group on January 30th, 2009, entitled The Emergence of a New Dayton, a conversation regarding developing Dayton's future, a work in progress. And in that, he writes, significant investment is occurring within the city around assets, while regional, economic, political dispersal directly and indirectly drive traditional definitions of progress and decline in Dayton. Based on this statement, what are your plans to stabilize and revitalize the Dayton community, especially areas where a community anchor has not been solidified? And we will start with Mayor McLin.
Thank you. First of all, we do have programs where we have anchors, and that was like the Genesis program with the University of Dayton and Premier Health. We have the Phoenix program with Good Samaritan Hospital. We have the Renaissance program with Grandview Hospital, and we have the Da Vinci program with the Children's Medical Center. Those are anchors. One of the things we have to recognize is that in the last 20 years, the businesses that have been the anchors in our community have changed to nonprofit organizations, such as our hospitals and our schools. They have become our businesses. So when we look at the fact that Wright Dunbar area as a marginal asset, the school, Wright State School of Professional Psychology, is going to be buying up houses over there and moving into a different program. And it was ahead of its time when the Duke Ellis Center went there. But they come from all over the world to learn to be professional psychologists. That is an anchor. The other thing that we are doing is still laying the infrastructure for neighborhoods to make sure that they're strong. We're also having the vacant to vibrant conversations to take those vacant lots and be able to come up with creative things to do. There is a lot to do, and there is no magic bullets to get it done. It's all going to take hard work every day, and that's what I'm willing to do for you. Thank you.
Hey, how many people have ever been here to the ocean? Seen lots of ships in a bay? Because all those ships have anchors, and some ships are bigger, and some ships are smaller. Neighborhood associations are anchors. Churches are anchors. I hear Ms. McLin talk about the big ships with the big anchors, but we need to look at the little ships with the little anchors, because those are the ones that are going to solidify the community. We have lost a sense of community in Dayton, in the country. I mean, in the old days, people used to sit on their porches and talk, but since air conditioning came along, everybody goes inside, and nobody wants to sit on the porch and talk anymore. So we have to make things happen here. The city of Dayton has 5 sister cities around the world, but we don't know anything about them because people in Israel or Germany or Japan can't help us. People in Liberia can't help us. That's where these sister cities are. We need to create sister neighborhoods. My neighborhood, Walnut Hills, very successful neighborhood. Mr. Esrati's neighborhood, South Park, very successful neighborhood. We need to partner with other neighborhoods across the rivers and start uniting the city. We're doing it through the priority boards. For the first time in history, we are standing united on a lot of issues. And, I mean, that's what it's going to take. We are one Dayton. We are one voice, one people.
And the other part of that I would want to add is, what will you do to change the perception that Dayton, that the city of Dayton is unsafe, dead, and beyond safe? Let's start with Mr. Leitzell. 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, the perception of crime is off. Crime is actually down in the city tremendously across the board. We need to market Dayton beyond the region because the region isn't buying it. We need to sell Dayton to Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and start making it a destination for people from outside the region to come here so that people from the region can feel safer. We have to sell it. We have to convince the media to start stating where crime is actually occurring because it's not occurring downtown. Every time they put the word Dayton, everyone thinks that the central business district is unsafe. The reality is there are 65 neighborhoods in the city of Dayton, and there might be 5 or 10 that are continuous problems that need improvement. And if we could identify those through the media, then we as a community can target those for improvement.
The city of Dayton has been struggling with the perception. There are 3 TV stations in the Dayton area, and they're all vying for news. So that's one of the battles that we have to face. What we've done downtown, there was an issue with 3rd of May. We worked on that issue. We have the ambassadors downtown, and the whole RTA system has changed. And so we're seeing the fruits of that. The other thing is we've been doing with the neighborhood watch. We have the Mayoral Valley Crime Stoppers where you can do anonymous tips on crimes that have happened in the city. The city has just implemented its own NIXL program where you can go online and be notified by the police of certain issues. You know, the crime issue is only as we as the citizens who live in the city have to be a part of it. And we have to take some responsibility. So when we see something that's happening, then we need to be calling 333 cops. But as long as those neighborhoods that get involved in their crime issues, those aren't the neighborhoods that have a lot of crime. The neighborhoods that where people say that it's over, that I'm done? Thank you.
We have 2 questions left for the mayoral candidate. The first of the 2 is, do you have children or grandchildren in the Dayton public school system?
I have no children, but I believe all children are mine.
I have a child. She's right here. 6 years old, doing triple-digit math and or addition and subtraction in math, and she's reading Magic Treehouse books, which are chapter books. I home educate her. Okay? I do take her to the Cleveland Elementary School when they do Father's Nights and things like that. I am involved in our community center schools. And I believe that we need to make those community center schools thrive. And if the community center schools would embrace people like me, a parent who's involved in the life of his child, then I will become a mentor for those children who attend Dayton public schools that aren't as privileged as my daughter is.
The last question is, and we were limited to 1 minute each, and starting with you, Mr. Leitzell, what can you bring to the West Dayton community?
I'm already doing it. I mean, I'm working over here with the neighborhoods. I've done some cleanups. I volunteer, and that's what it's going to take. A lot of people who volunteer. Something I've been learning over here is our community churches and our nonprofits are all doing very good things, but they aren't getting the word out, so people don't know that things are happening. For example, there are churches that are doing financial responsibility training. Mr. Williams keeps referring to this Great Depression or Great Recession that we're going through. If we want to get out of it ahead of the nation, we need to focus on financial responsibility training now and home ownership training now. Because in 2 years when that money starts trickling through and people start buying, or they're ready to buy houses, we're ahead of the 8 ball. We got people lined up ready to purchase at a
what can you bring to the West Dayton community?
I've lived in West Dayton all my life. One of the things that I bring to West Dayton is the fact that I understand our community and that I realize that I'm the mayor, as I currently am the mayor for the whole city. One of the things that I noticed that we just have a new general store that went up. We're working with the Rhine area. I have a litter campaign that I do, but I also get involved in going to all the communities and activities within my neighborhood. So I really think that the special things that we need in our neighborhood is good schools, and our schools are making an anchor in our neighborhoods, and you're seeing that revitalization from Manning Hills, that you got Wagaman, Louise, all of that is happening. The Edison School is another anchor with all the ISIS houses that are going on. I think that we are moving in the right track in West Dayton, and it's a community effort that we need to be doing.
Let me, for the sake of transparency, as we shared that we would not focus on individualized questions. So I just want, I have a card here, it's individualized, and that was one of the guidelines that we shared early. And so with that, we will go to the mayoral candidates and to have them to share with us in 2 minutes or less, why do they want to serve in the office of mayor of the city of Dayton? Let's start with with Mr. Leitzell.
This is my final 2 minutes, right?
This is your final 2 minutes.
All right, I'm Gary Leitzell. I passed a bunch of these out. If you didn't get one, please make sure you do. I have a webpage. It's gogarygo.net. If you go there, you'll find a lot about me. I've actually posted my resume on there. You see, I got a mailing last week, a negative mailing from Ms. McLin and the Ohio Democratic Party that says that I pretty much have no elected experience. And if you're on the priority board, you know that we're all elected. Now, if it said I had no political experience, I would plead guilty to that charge because I'm not a politician. What I am is a seasoned, experienced problem solver in the community. Now, we need business-minded, visionary problem solvers at City Hall. I fixed up 2 houses in Walnut Hills. I know what it takes to work on those houses. I have a child. She's right here. You can meet her and you can see how smart she is. I know what it takes to educate a child. I started a business when I came to Dayton. I know what it takes to run a small business. I'm a president of a neighborhood association. I know what it takes to run a neighborhood association, produce a monthly newsletter for 7 years in a row, and work with volunteers and get them motivated. I know what it takes to work with community leaders and leaders in the community through the priority board system to make things happen and to communicate and share ideas. And I want you to vote for the person you think will move this city forward in the right direction. I hope you vote for Gary.
I would like very much, I'm asking for your vote on November 3rd or earlier, and because you need, at this particular time in the city's history, we need consistent, experienced leadership. We also need someone that, I'm a native Daytonian, I'm committed to this city, I'm a former, I'm a business person, I'm a former school teacher, I support the Dayton public school system, and I realize that our city is not going to move forward unless the Dayton public school system and the city of Dayton work together. I've said that all along, that we are Siamese twins. If one doesn't succeed, the other cannot succeed, and that we're in together. I think that we are doing the right things with the infrastructure. We're focused on economic development. We're focused on public safety and our fire department, and we're also focused on housing. This is a very serious time, and I'm asking you to continue to look at the leadership that we have today is what we need for the future of this city. This is not the time to be changing for an experiment in leadership. We need to have steady, committed leadership. Thank you so much.
appointed by the governor to fulfill the unexpired term of a judge that retired in the middle of his term. In order to continue with that seat, I must be elected by the voters. So I am on the ballot for November the 3rd, and I am asking for your vote here tonight. I am originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana, but I've been in the Dayton area for the past 16 years. And for the past 16 years, I have worked in the criminal justice system, I have worked in your community, I have worked in your schools, and I have worked in the neighborhoods and churches. I am entrenched in this community. I feel that the courts play an important role in stabilizing our community and making our community better. I served as a prosecutor for 16 years for the City of Dayton Prosecutor's Office. While in that prosecutor's office, I developed several programs to help the community, to help individuals within the court system, and to make the criminal justice system not just a facade, but that something that people can believe in, that really justice happens, and that the prosecutor's office is just not rubber stamping things that happen. I was an independent prosecutor, and that's the way it needs to be. I am very, very familiar with the business of Dayton Municipal Court. Civil cases, criminal cases, traffic cases, housing cases. That is our jurisdiction. I have a vast amount of experience. I'm really seeking your vote. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this Candidates Night community forum. I want to thank everyone, but I would like to say this. We all are different. We all have different thinking processes. So there's no given time that everybody's going to be satisfied at the same time. There's always going to be someone wanting something done differently. But the key is we have to be respectful in whatever we do. I don't care what venue it is. For the majority of today,